So the water has all these contaminants, chlorine, fluorine, chlorine, arsenic, whatever it is. And our job, my job, is to nullify all these products, that they have no physical effect on the body or the food or the water anymore. They're still there as physical particles, but they're neutral. They don't do nothing to nobody. Now, in many communities, the water is recycled. It has been treated in sewage treatment plants, right? And then they're going to give it back to you, right? And the water looks clean. It looks
nice,
clean, right? And we drink that water 4 or 5 times over, okay?
Yeah.
That means that water has been consumed previously by people, by your neighbor. They drank it, they peed and pooped it out. Now, they cleaned their dishes, their laundry. They consume headache pills and all sorts of medication, tranquilizers, and all these particles end up in water. It cannot be any other way. You know, it ends up in water. Now, the problem is not, again, that these particles end up in water, but the frequency. And the sewage treatment plant in your city cannot clean those frequencies. They may clean some particles, or even all, but these particles left their track behind the frequencies. As you will see in the next paragraph, not only frequencies, but information. So water stores information. We'll talk about this in a moment. So, and these information frequencies are still in the water. So the water may look clean, but it's not. It has full of negative counter-survival information. They cannot filter that out. So I recorded a test, which I'll show you later, how that works. Now, which brings us then to the next point, water and hexagonal structure. There was a gentleman called Masaru Emoto, Dr. Masaru Emoto. I never met him. He died before, he died at the time I started to work with water. But he left his fingerprints and footprints all over the place. Now, he's Japanese, and a very Christian person. You talked about prayer some minute ago. We'll come back to that very soon. And there are not so many Christian people found in Asia or Japan, but he was a very Christian person. And I'm sure we would have enjoyed each other's company if we would have met. And I looked into his findings and took them as an inspiration, as a benchmark, and to incorporate them into my technology and my products. He found 2 things. He found that water stores information and transmits information. It passes on information. And he found that healthy water has a structure. And this structure is called hexagonal structure. From the Greek language, it means six corners, pentagon, hexagonal. So when we were younger, I remember in wintertime at the window panes, when it was cold and frosty, there were these ice crystals on the water, on the windows, right? These ice crystals. And these ice crystals were hexagonal structured. So, and Masaru Emoto developed a technology that he would take water, freeze it, take a crystal from the water, and photograph it. And he would photograph it and see what the water structure is. And from the water structure, he could tell that the water was healthy or not healthy. And here is what it looks like if it's healthy.
Beautiful.
Natural spring water. And this ice crystal, this water crystal, looks to me like a piece of art.
Doesn't
like,
it?
Like jewelry. I mean, how much more beautiful can jewelry be?
It is beautiful. That is the word.
So, and this is what is called hexagonal structure. You see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so to speak, stars coming out from the structure, right?
Yes.
And water does not look always the exact same. It looks different all the time, but it has that beautiful structure. So he says, look, this water is healthy water. It's called as well fine clustered. This water can penetrate your cells. This is how water has to be. And our pristine water we originally had on this planet always had this hexagonal structure. Till the moment we started to destroy the planet and a lot of ingredients. Okay, then he gave some examples. He took water and spoke the word love and gratitude. He took the same word and spoke the word Satan. The water was enforced, improved, or destroyed. He did a lot of experiments. He played Mozart music or heavy metal. I put the Mozart and heavy metal, but I could have left it off. You would have known which one is Mozart and which one is heavy metal. He took a river flow in Japan, the Shinano River. On the left side, you see the spring when it came out.
Oh my gosh.
In the
Folks, here's the thing. Folks, this is real. This is real. This isn't some crazy fantasy. This is real. So soak it up, okay?
So in the spring, you see the beautiful structure. On the top right, you see midst of the river towards the ocean, already pretty destroyed. And when it finally reaches the ocean, it's completely destroyed. Here is an example of the city water of London and Paris. No hexagonal structure by far. Now here we come to an interesting topic. Many of you may know that there is a place in France called Lourdes. They call it a holy place in the Catholic Church. And there's a well, the Holy Well. And this is the water structure of the Holy Well in Lourdes, France. Now, I raised the provocative question, what happens if we let nobody pray at this well for, let's say, a week or a month? Is the water still has by nature this structure? Or is that the structure because people all the time, every day, by the hundreds and thousands, pray at this well? Because Masaru Emoto wrote 2 booklets, which I point out in a minute, which you should read. Very easy to read, with a lot of pictures which I took from there. And he talked about changing the quality of water by praying. And he gave examples. And here's an example on the other code. You have healthy water on the left, and then when you use a cell phone, the cell phone destroys the water outside your body and inside your body. And on the right side, you see the same thing with the microwave oven. Water before putting in the microwave, after taking it out of the microwave, which is a clear proof that electromagnetic radiation destroys the water, both inside of you and outside of you.
Wow.
So besides this, what we call hexagonal structure, he discovered that water takes over information, and water distributes information throughout the body, through the cells. Everything in the body coordinates, communicates with and through water. So this is why water has to be extremely healthy and clean. For the water to have the hexagonal structure is essential, and to do what water should be doing, and what it did for millions of years with the bodies of the people. For millions of years, we had pristine water, which had by nature this hexagonal healthy structure. By nature, we didn't do anything to it. We just did to it and we destroyed it. With the structure of the water, you can embellish somebody's life, or you can destroy it. Our water we have nowadays, publicly, and most bottled water, is counter survival. Full stop. The illusion I drink water, I drink healthy water, is an illusion, a complete betrayal, a complete lie. So bad words, bad thoughts, questionable music, bad intentions can destroy the water structure. Electromagnetic radiation, Wi-Fi, cell phone, microwave oven can destroy the structure of water, right? So here I have now a video which I would like to bring to you. About water and information. How water picks up information, even written information upside down. Water picks up written information. Written information can destroy or heal water. Please watch that video. Now let's see what we can do with the water according to Dr. Masaru Emoto. I take this piece of paper here and I hold it onto the water and we'll try testing again. Match my pressure.
Weak.
The water which was just a second ago good, by adding that paper, the water becomes bad. And this is according to Masaru Emoto, who I studied and I talked to it about some other time. But now this shows you how water can take information and pass information. So the water became back by just putting the paper to the water.
Oh.
And the water cannot read, right? Water cannot read. And
It
water
cannot read.
No, it cannot read upside down, right? Okay, can you speak out loud what's on the paper?
Devil.
Devil, okay. Just the word devil brought the water down and spoiled the water. Okay, so the water is bad. Now we'll take another piece of paper and we hold it to the water and we see whether it changes the water. Match my pressure.
Strong.
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 Yes. Huh.
What did it say?
What do you-
Norbert.
All right, so I changed the quality of the water again from bad to good. So the water is good. Now, if that doesn't make it for you, water is extremely sensitive. I show you these information and videos and pictures. You can believe me or not, it's okay. You don't need to believe me. Other people came up with this as well.
Oh,
Now,
I'm all in. I'm in. Don't worry
okay.
about that.
Okay, good. So I made a step ahead then. Masaru Emoto died, and I had my water products, right? And I had my water products tested by the Visa Institute, as we talked about, and I showed the proofs. But now it was tempting for me. Imagine my mindset. I wanted to test my products under Masaru Emoto standards of hexagonal structure. The Visa Institute cannot test the hexagonal structure, they can test the consequence of the water. So there are, like, I believe, 2 or so Masaru Emoto labs in this world which work under his license. So I went to one of the Masaru Emoto labs and said, hey guys, I would like to have my water products tested by these. Here are the 2 water products. And they said, okay, we'll test them and we'll take reverse osmosis water. I said, no, don't take reverse osmosis water. Take regular water people have from the water tap. They said, no, we take reverse osmosis water. Because reverse osmosis water is the poorest water we know. And if you change that poor water into good water, if you rehabilitate that water, then you do magic. So, fine, let's look at this image here. I gave them my product, this pen, what you call a pen. You see on the left side the photo they made from the reverse osmosis water, spoiled and unhealthy, totally destroyed. The water structure is totally destroyed. We'll talk later about the reverse osmosis water. Then they used my pen, W100, and then you see on the right side, the same water after my technology has been applied.
I realize that there are some people who are not going to be able to receive this, but I urge you to look deeply into this. This is not a dodge or a scam or a joke or anything of the sort. This is the actual science.
I mean,
these are the results.
I
Astounding.
did not execute the test. I gave my products to the institute, to the lab, and said, make the test. Give me back the results, right? So that was the result with the pen, the W100. And then I did a second test run with the blue unit, which I showed you before. Again, on the left side, reverse osmosis water, totally killed, spoiled. On the right side, the result, when this blue unit was sitting on the water pipe, and they used the water coming out of the tap and tested then after they froze the water.
Fantastic. Really. It really is. Look, folks, I've been using these products for quite some time, but it's one thing if you're using the products and go, yes, I'm enjoying these quite a lot. And it's another thing when you see visual evidence of why you're enjoying these products. It's beyond cool. It's all the way to wonderful. It really is. Sorry, this is amazing.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So I must say, without any doubt, I was very proud when I saw these results. I knew I did the right thing, but then for me to see it, it's like maybe some people who gets a Grammy Award or an Oscar for what they have done, right? I mean, it's the highest, usually the highest level of acknowledgement. So I enjoyed it. I was very proud, very happy. And again, the literature is there. Now, here is a test I have done with my grandson. I took the silver pen, and I took water from the city, and I treated this water, and then you see the results before and after.
So we're going to test with Jaden first whether he's testable. Give me your arm. Say yes.
Yes.
And are you strong or weak?
Strong.
Okay. Say no.
No. Weak.
Okay, good. So he's testable. And we check now the water quality, which I brought here from the city water, and we see how he reacts on this. If he's strong, the water is a good quality. If he becomes weak, the water is a bad quality. Match my pressure. Okay, good.
Weak.
Weak. So the water is bad. Was no surprise, it's the city water. Like in most other places in the world, it's always the same. So I'll take my W100 and just hold it to the container of that paper bag here for a second. And now we test him again. Match my pressure. A bit more. Okay, good.
Strong.
Strong. Okay, good. So I changed the quality of the water in a split second. The water is good now.
Okay. I think that should impress you. It impresses me every time I do it. And my grandson, the boy taller than me, is 11 years old, and he is into muscle testing and my technology. And when I give sometimes demonstrations, he wants to be the guinea pig. He wants to test it. And I asked him to test people. He just loves it. I don't know whether he will follow my footsteps or not. I don't know, but he just loves it. Now, I don't sell books, but on my website, there is a button called books. And I put books from all walks of life, which I find interesting to read. And here on my website, you see those two books from Masaru Emoto, in which you find a lot of what I just said, confirmations and proofs and photos and some write-ups from him. The books are not huge books to read. There are more booklets, not expensive, and I highly recommend to you to read those two books. And then there are two other books. As we speak about books, I would like to point out there are many books about water. There's no question. Many books about water. But these are, again, two highlights of books which I can highly recommend for you to read. All right. So when water, basically what I do is I'll take water, basically no matter what condition, and the documentation I have clearly proves that my technology rehabilitates the water and reinstates the so much needed hexagonal structure. Without hexagonal structure, the water is not healthy. Water used to have this hexagonal structure in nature, in pristine water. And if you happen to find a real healthy natural spring, which is not contaminated, this water has the hexagonal structure. Hexagonal structure is one of the key features, and this hexagonal structure can be measured. The size of the cluster of the molecules can be measured by what's called nuclear magnetic resonance technology. You can measure in a laboratory these values. The smaller the cluster, the lower these values. One can take the absorption rate of hexagonal water for oneself. What happened to me when I first heard about you got to drink this and this amount of water per day, right? Like we all heard. And you drink it, most of us, like 1 gallon, for example. After half a gallon or a third of a gallon, I'm fed up to drink water. I can't see it anymore. I don't want to drink it. I feel I have to force myself. And later on, I learned why. Because the water would not penetrate the cells where it's supposed to go. It would be sitting in my belly and would make me bloated, and I felt uncomfortable. Now, if you ever have my products and you drink 2-3 glasses in one gulp of my water, you feel not bloated for 1 second. Why? Because the body, means the cells, immediately pick up the water and let penetrate the cell membranes into the cells. And that is what water is supposed to do. Which brings me to the next topic, John, if you're ready for it, which is called water and hydration. Hydration versus dehydration. You hear a lot about this nowadays. And a lot of companies say, here's my bottle of water, hydration water. That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion, it's all BS. If the water doesn't have hexagonal structure, it will not penetrate the cells. And then you are hydrated. That's my personal opinion. There are different companies who have different technologies to hydrate water. Different companies, different ways to go about it. I have my way to go about it. It doesn't mean that everybody out there is BS. No, not at all. There are always good people in this world with good intentions and good products. And I'm happy they're there. And as I said before, I don't know competition. If I find somebody who does something great, I say, beautiful. You did a great job. The market is big enough for you and me. There are millions of people waiting for our products. So let's shake hands and see how we can educate the people together. To educate the people what they have to know. So my way of dehydration is a different way, or it's a very unique way. And you see very often the doctor says to you, oh, you're dehydrated. You got to drink water, more water. This is a standard stupid statement, a complete sentence stupid, said by somebody who doesn't understand water. If the doctor would say, you got to drink more healthy water, I would say, great, and that guy knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, that makes a little more sense, doesn't it? Not just any water. And it's my understanding, Norbert, that the water that we have on this planet is all the water we're ever going to have. No new water is being made. Now, I don't know this. This is just what I've come to understand, which means that any water that we drink, there's a good chance it's been strained through some brontosaurus's kidneys a couple of times before it came out of our tap. I mean, is that...
Yeah, it's true. There's one small little exception, to my opinion. Again, I don't know everything. Don't get me wrong.
Me either.
There's much more I have to learn than I know. And I know at my dying day, I still didn't learn all I wanted to learn. I'm still looking, I'm still researching, I'm so interested in what's going on, right? And nowadays, my presentation to you today is again, maybe twice as good as the one for 8 weeks, 12 weeks ago, right? So there's one exception perhaps to what you said. Basically, yes, that's what it is. Of course, they're trying to turn salt water into usable water, which is a way they have to go to do at least this converted water, to use it for some areas of life. Maybe not so much for the drinking water, but other water reasons, okay? That we flush the toilet with, let me call it, what they call Class A water, is nonsense, while we could flush the toilet with, I give you an example, with salt water, you know, converted salt, whatever. So salt water, they have to do something about it. But again, it doesn't matter. Yes, I agree with you, but there's one perhaps small exception. The mitochondria produce in your body water as well, okay? This is not the big volume of water out there, but for your body's functions, the mitochondria do that. Now, John, if somebody is dehydrated, what do you think a regular person is dehydrated right now? How much water does the person have to drink to be hydrated? What do you think?
You know, Norbert, other than speaking with you about these things, I have always been given to understand that, for example, my personal doctor says, person 6'2", about 185, 190 pounds, if I've been binging on, you know, stuff I shouldn't eat, 1.5 liters per day. I've also heard 10 8-ounce glasses of water per day. But those are the only guidelines I've ever heard. And other than the comment from my doctor, which is about the same thing as I've always heard, it seems to be the same answer out of the textbook that I was reading when I was in elementary school. So the answer is I have only what I've been told to go by.
So basically, we're talking about 2 to 3 liters of water per day, right? This under normal condition, not working in the desert and not in the coal mines. 2-3 liter waters a day, which is like 2/3 of a gallon or so. Yes, but now if somebody's actually at the very moment dehydrated, what do you think? How much water? If you say 3 liters a day, how much water does he have to drink right now to be hydrated again? What do you think?
I've always been told that if you encounter a person who is what you'd call observably dehydrated, then you begin giving them water slowly to allow the absorption to occur. So the answer is, I don't know. I only know what I've heard, but I don't know.
I understand. Now, could you imagine that I could hydrate somebody with 1 drop of water?
That would be a little bit of a stretch, but knowing you as I do, it would not surprise me to learn that this was the case. I'll put it that way. And I'm not taking the safe way out. I mean, that's my honest answer.
Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the compliment. Yes, let's do one thing. I have here a video. Which I shot again with my grandson, the dehydration test, okay? I'll test my grandson, and he's dehydrated, and I'll timed it that day that he would be dehydrated at the moment we shoot the video, because he drinks our water at home, so he's never dehydrated. So I timed it knowing that in the test he's dehydrated. And then you see how I treat the water with my technology, and then I put 1 drop of water on his lips. And this 1 drop of water hydrates him. Let's watch.
Now let's see whether he is dehydrated or not, okay? There's a dehydration point. There are several dehydration ways to test a person. We test the one that I usually do. You're strong. Now we check whether you are dehydrated. If you become weak, you are dehydrated. If you're strong, you're hydrated, okay?
Dehydrated.
Dehydrated, yes, exactly.
My lips are dry.
So he's dehydrated. Now, normally people would say, oh, I have to drink now half a gallon of water, a liter, 2 liters to be hydrated again. Now I show you what we can do. If you put your finger, dip your finger in the water, and then take that bit of water and put it on your lips. All right, that's all we do. That's all we do. Now we test again. Now if you're strong, then you're what?
Hydrated.
And if you're weak?
You're dehydrated.
Okay, good. So let's check.
Hydrated.
yes. So, which means with 1 drop of water, I hydrated him, okay? And I explain you then how that happens and what I do and why this works, right? But just a quick test, okay? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so what do you say now?
Astounding. Truly.
Okay.
But why?
So what happens here?
Yeah.
Okay. I said, let's bring this in, put this together, the puzzle. The world is based on frequencies. Water works on frequencies. Water communicates with each other throughout the body. We talk about quantum physics. It comes all together here at this very moment. So when I give now his body on the lips 1 drop of water, this 1 drop of water in quantum physics communicates with all water molecules throughout his body and converts the dead water into healthy hexagonal structured water in less than a second, in no time. This 1 drop of water had valid information for the body, important information for all the water molecules. They exchanged information. They passed on the information to the all water molecules, which so far were not used by the cells. Let me give you a picture. All this water, before the drop of water I gave him, was sitting in his body and in front of the cells, like trying to get into the door. And the cells would not open the door. The cells are high-classy computers. They would not open the door and says, no, 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 we can't use you. In the moment I put the 1 drop on his lips, in quantum physics, that 1 drop of water communicated with all water in his body and turned them into pristine, healthy water. And now the cells said, oh, great, come in. And all that water sitting there entered the cells, and now the test result was he's hydrated.
I see, because obviously there is hydration available. Otherwise, any human body, including your grandson, would just be a dried husk. So, and obviously that's not the case. So this one communicates through its unique frequency to all of the other water molecules within the body and activates them and directs them to go into the cells. I mean, is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Well, you know, it's about time that we learned things like this. After all, we're pretty deeply into the 21st century, and this archaic way of thinking has to go by the wayside, because obviously the condition of health of the human beings across the globe altogether is not that great. It is not what we expected with the advent of the 21st century. It just isn't. So it's time for not, as you say, what is it? You don't say rethink.
Yes, I had created the word rethink, you know. So if we think modified, we take information from the past and we mix it, and we still get a weak, wrong thinking. You have, if we would end up tomorrow on a lonely island, 20 of us, and we say we want to start a new society, let's take a flip chart and write down what are the components of a healthy society, right? You would start from scratch. You would not say, well, we used to do this and this. Forget what we used to do. We're not interested in that. What are the key elements of a healthy society? And we would pin them down and say, this is our target. Not using bad, wrong, half-hearted information from the past. So now, before I talked about cells, you remember I talked about cells, the job of cells. The cells have to produce energy with the water and the nutrition and the minerals and the vitamins and so on, and to create energy. Now the water is there to help to create that energy. Now the water is there to flush out the toxins from the cells. Now, so with this test, with this one drop, I show you that the volume of water is not important for hydration. The quality is important. Then comes in the volume, because now you got to, like a merry-go-round, recycle the cells with fresh water, use water with toxic goes out, bring in new fresh water, and so on. Now the volume is important of, let's say, 3 liters a day, right? Make sense?
Yeah.
And people take it the wrong way around. They think that volume is important for hydration. The amount of water is secondary. As long as the quality is not right, it has no effect. Okay.
I'm making notes. Lots of them.
Okay. Good. The next topic we're going to go into then is water and pH. Very often people talk about pH when they talk about water. And I got to give you a crash course on pH. I have separate seminars where I only talk about pH for an extended amount of time. I give you here an extract from this presentation. Okay, good. Now, pH stands for ponderous hydrogeny, means the weight of hydrogen. pH gives the concentration of hydrogen ions in a solution. So the lower the pH number is, the more acidic is the solution. The higher the pH number is, the more alkaline it is. So let's look here at a typical scale. They say 7 is neutral, which for me is not neutral. I'll explain to you in a moment why. Everything above 7 is alkaline. Now, a lot of times people are sold alkaline water. You've got to drink alkaline water, got to drink alkaline water. For me, that is not correct. I'll explain in a minute why. People say 7 is neutral. For me, 7.34 is neutral. And I rounded up in my presentation to 7.5 to make it easier. Why is 7.34 neutral? Very simple. 7.34, 7.38, people discuss around it. Your body blood has a natural pH of 7.34. A natural pH of 7.34. If you would live on a pH level in your body, in your blood, of 8.5 or 6.2, you would be very sick and most likely die. The body needs 7.34. Again, similar to what I discussed earlier on, that's God-given. That's not just a wacky invention by somebody. The blood needs that. Now, every time we give the body a pH which is above 7.5 or below 7.5, the body has to compensate and bring it back to 7.5. Let's say 7.5 would be on the easy side. So here's the scale. Now, if somebody drinks water which has 7.5, this is neutral, right? Now, you drink water, John, for example, which is 6.5, okay? The 6.5 water you drink is 10 times too acidic. It's what we call a logarithmic scale. From 7.5 neutral to 6.5 is only one number, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's a logarithmic scale, it's 10 times too acidic. Now, if your wife drinks 5.5, it's 100 times too acidic. If somebody drinks 4.5, it's 1,000 times too acidic. 3.5, 10,000 times. Somebody drinks something 2.5, it's 100,000 times too acidic. Impossible for the body to compensate. Now, you will say, who is so stupid to drink 2.5 acidic drink? Well, the answer is simple. Everybody who drinks Coca-Cola.
Well, yeah, it'll clean battery terminals, and it will. I wonder what it does to the human body.
Well, it screws you up.
Right?
Now, I made a scale. I made some testing, right, on beverages. I took typical beverages. You may not be able to read this here on the website. Now, this chart I did, you can download from my website, which I give you later, and you can study it quietly. And I took typical drinks, okay? And I give you in a moment an extract of that. So let's look at this scale here. Maybe on the right side, you can read what I said. You see that beer, for example, has 4.4. It's 1,000 times too acidic. Red wine, 3.6, 10,000 times too acidic. Orange juice, 3.5, 10,000 times too acidic, and what have you. So I give you this information for you to be aware how much acidic drinks you give to your body. And I said earlier on, the reasons of cancer, I talk about too acidic. Basically, we're all live too acidic. We all eat too much meat, which is acidic, and the majority of drinks we drink are all acidic. All acidic. If it's not water with 7.5, it's all acidic.
Coffee.
Coffee, yeah.
Very acidic.
Yeah, I'll give you an example about coffee. Here it is.
The blonde roast is only 1,000 times too acidic. The medium roast 1,000 times. The cold brew 1,000 times. Dark roasted, cafe latte, and cappuccino and mocha is only 100 times too acidic. Wow. I'm laughing because I can laugh or I can cry because, well, I like coffee.
Yeah, I know.
I like it less now.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, pal.
I did. Well, you know, I have to stick to the truth, whether you like it or not. I gave last week a webinar, which is coming up this week on my website, and if you're interested in, we do the show with you. The seminar one is called Coffee is the widest spread drug in the world.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. But it tastes good, Norbert.
I know. People who take heroin say the same. People who take crack say the same. You know, it's addiction. Right. And I talk about addiction. If you ever want to do that show, I'll be happy to do that show with you.
Let's do it.
About coffee and addiction, right? So, so we have here these acidic drinks. And, you know, I said to you, okay, I made one more test as I was at Starbucks.
Oh, mango dragon fruit.
Had a refreshing new drink, a cold refreshing drink. Let's say, as I was on testing it, it was all this week I did that. I said, okay, let me test the dragon fruit, okay? Do you have a drum roll here?
100,001 million-fold too acidic. At 1.9 pH. Well, maybe that's why they call it dragon fruit.
So I did this research for people to be aware of it, you know, just to be aware of it. You make your own decisions, but in this coffee show, I clearly prove, in quote, that coffee is a drug and people are addicted. Okay. Now, I must say, through my self-defense, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but in this lifetime, I repeat, in this lifetime, I have never drunken alcohol, coffee. I never smoked weed, hard stuff. I never took drugs in this lifetime.
Yeah.
And when I prepared the show about coffee is addiction, the first time in my life, as an old man, I started to drink coffee to prove to myself the point, which I did, which we can talk about that. So that's pH, water and pH, okay? So the problem is, we'll talk soon about the consequences, stress. For me, the only reason somebody can become sick, ill, is chronic stress, mentally or physically. That's for me a fact. We can talk about this later. So when we talk about water, we have to talk about pH. And most of the waters we drink are too acidic. To say this up front, for example, all reverse osmosis water is acidic. Okay. So how do I test these things? If you want to be interested to test it, don't take these paper strips, you know, licensed paper. They're not accurate. Forget it. They're nonsense, right? I use a product. I don't sell the product. I use a product, which you see it here. It's very accurate, like this guy here. You put 1 drop of urine, of water, of alcohol, again, 1-2 drops in here, and within split seconds, you have a digital control which shows you pH of the product. And this is the only I mean, there are much more professional ones, but for Joe Blow and me, this is reliable to know what I'm drinking, right? So I did the researches with all these products. Okay. All right, good. So water and pH. You must be aware, if you have water, what is the pH I'm drinking here? And I must add something here about pH, otherwise I don't feel comfortable. When we talk about pH, I said the body must live on a level of 7.5. There's a natural swing on change throughout the day. And your stomach, if you eat, for example, meat, needs more acidity than in a regular time. And there's one exception, which is your skin. Your skin should be on a level of pH of 5.5. And there are products out there, which I don't sell, which you should use for your skin. Because most of the products we use for our skin are too alkaline. And the shampoos and the wash lotions and whatever, the soaps, they're too alkaline. And your body has a 5.5 pH skin as a natural defense to the outside world. It's like a filter, like a shield. So this is why 7.5, yes, if you drink water, if we put water into our body. However, when it comes to cleaning skin, it is 5.5.
Okay. I got it.
Good. Now we come then to the next point, if you're okay with it, which is water and minerals. Water and minerals. Now here comes a topic which may be stretching it for some people, but you know me, I don't care. I just tell them what I think is true.
Right.
The pristine water we used to consume on this planet, millions of years, for millions of years, had plenty of those badly needed minerals. Most of the water we're drinking nowadays is absolutely lacking minerals. Such does the soil. I mean, it's depleted. It's, we need water with minerals. And like in health food store, you cannot buy a pack and throw some minerals in the water and you think you did the job. It has no foundation. The same thing like you would eat McDonald's and then go to a health food store and get some vitamins. So I came up with a major approach, which took me a long, long time. And I just published it not long ago. Here's a bit of a chart of typical vitamins and minerals the body needs and the volumes. Most people are not aware of the lack of minerals in the body, which causes major health problems. Now, what can we do if our water has not the amount and types of minerals needed? I was fighting with this topic for 3 years, maybe. First some thoughts and some ideas and some visions, and then I came up with a solution. I explained to you that my technology, I can nullify bad information, right?
Yes.
I extended my program and with my people, I'm not alone, we researched several healthy, original, pristine springs in Europe. And these really natural springs have minerals. We analyze the water, we analyze the minerals, and we analyze the frequency. So what I do nowadays, which is new, I add, where I nullify the bad information in the water, I add now the information of minerals. Because again, the particles are not important, but the frequency. If you guys out there have truly good minerals in your water, fine, great. But if they're lacking, we must add them. And how do I add them with my technology? By adding the frequency of these minerals. It's not about the physical particles, as we said.
Right. That makes perfect sense. It really does.
It's the opposite way. Now I add frequencies which are not there. And that was a major step and a major undertaking. So one thing I did not mention yet in my technology, like this product is guaranteed for 10 years. A year ago, this product had no mineral frequency adding. You know, I develop, I come up with ideas, I come up with new information. Let's say tomorrow they bring a chemical on this market which has never existed before. Fine. I can analyze this chemical, the frequency, and can add it into my program. This is a computer, a quantum physics computer. So I add it into my program. And I do this without you knowing. It takes me about 3 days to contact all, to write the program and get it, and update all the products around the globe. Remember, regardless where they are. Quantum physics, I'll find you. So then I added the program of minerals. You don't know that. You have the product in use. I don't charge you, don't pay extra. I just upload it to bring it up to standard, up to the best of my knowledge, up to the best of my technology, up to the best for humankind, what needs to be done. So this programming is endless. Quantum physics knows no time, no space, no left, no right. I just do it. I can contact this product. The same thing happens, by the way, for the cell phone unit. Okay? The cell phone unit now protects against 4G and 5G. Comes tomorrow, for Christ's sake, 6G. I can update your unit in your cell phone wherever you are, in Texas or in Africa. I update it for 6G. This is only possible in quantum physics. Now, if people drop out here and say, come on, that's too much. I give you an analogy. You have a computer. You open up the computer and suddenly a message comes from Microsoft, oh, you have the old version 10.4, here's the new version 10.5, right? And they offer you the update. How do they know you have the old version? Well, you're connected with them through the internet, wherever they are, right?
Right.
And it's not a surprise when you say, yeah, update, push the buttons, boop, 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 boop. After 1 minute, updated, you have the latest version now. People never think about this and say, okay, that's completely fine. But when I say update, they say, how can you do that? Well, a bit more advanced because we work in quantum physics. We don't need the physical connection with the computer, with your product. We don't need the physical connection. We connect in quantum physics. The frequency has no time, no space. I don't care where you are, how old you are, how old the product is. Within a certain time frame, I update. Full stop. Make sense?
It does. Many people will not be able to receive this, but it doesn't mean it isn't correct.
All right. I try to present it as simplistic as I can so that everybody basically can follow, because it's a lot of logic and no ivory tower. All right. So the next stop would be water and red blood cells. Now, a lot of people would say, well, shit, what does that have red blood cells to do with water? Well, very much, as you can see. The mission of red blood cells is to transport oxygen to the cells.
Yes.
In order to do so, the cells must be free floating. The more free they float, the more oxygen they can bind. Let me give you an image here here it is, how free floating red cells look like. That's what they look like, free floating cells, okay? So the more free floating they are, the more oxygen they can bind. And they work like a magnet. And they slightly repel each other like the opposite, when you have to have the same polarity going against each other. Right? When you hold the same polarity against each other, the magnet repels, the metal repels. You know, the red blood cells do the same. And one needs to know that one healthy red blood cell has about 50 million electrons. 50 million electrons. The electrons are badly needed for our health. Now, when these red blood cells are clumped, they can hardly bind any oxygen, or only very little, not enough. This represents an unhealthy situation, which is created by various influences such as stress, high acidity, toxic overload, and guess what? By bad water.